Another discussion video today. PvP is boring, so I'm not interested in playing PvP. They just announced Yamcha Zenkai for tomorrow. You're gonna see this video hopefully on Tuesday only. So yeah, they announced Yamcha Zenkai, and that's what brought me here. See, the thing with Zenkais is I have a really big problem with what Zenkais are doing currently, and it's been a while that this has been going on for almost forever at this point. But let's just talk about it. So the biggest problem I have with Zenkai Awakenings right now is that every Zenkai is based to be like a Zenkai bench for the new character that's upcoming, because that's their thought process. The Zenkai agreed. Okay, they said that Daima team doesn't have that many options, so we are Zenkaiing green Daima Goku. And then right in that reveals they released a green SSJ3 Vegeta. So this doesn't really give them like more solid options. You're supposed to be okay. He was supposed to be the holding bench for Vegeta, right? That's what his job was. And for people who don't have Vegeta, go use Daimaku, this green one, right? What I would have preferred is for this Goku to be a separate thing than Vegeta. Vegeta, like, there's no green character released for Daima. He is the green character. Make him good enough to be the main first team green character. Make Zenkais actually be the first choice options in, like, for the most part. For most of the times, that should be the case. I'm not saying every Zenkai needs to be a first time pick. But bro, Zenkai, as soon as they went free, Zenkais just lost their value, man. It's just like, okay, now they're holding bench. That's their job. They designed Zenkai. You can't even get excited for Zenkais nowadays because you know they're gonna hold bench. They're not gonna be designed good enough to be ran on the first team. Their job is to hold bench to the new character that's coming. There are few exceptions every now and then, but for the most part, they are there to hold bench. And that is the biggest problem with Zenkai Awakenings. For example, let's take the recent examples, right? They Zenkai him, right? I just talked about him. He's supposed to hold bench. He's good enough to be ran on the first team, I think. But Vegeta is, I think, a better option, straight up. So there you go. He's a secondary option if you don't have Vegeta. Otherwise, if you have Vegeta, he holds the bench. And his job is to Zenkai buff Vegeta. I don't mind characters being used for Zenkai buffing. But the thing is, I want Zenkai characters to be usable. As in, like, you want to put this character on your team and take him into the match because he's good. And then once his value starts to go down, the character is starting to age a bit, that's when you release a new unit for that team, the same color, so that this guy can then still have value as a Zenkai bench. You don't start a character Zenkai thinking, okay, we want to Zenkai this character because we want him to Zenkai buff this new character that's upcoming. That thought process shouldn't be there. It should be, okay, how can we make this character good so that he is the go-to option for the team? And when he's starting to age, okay, this guy is starting to age now. Let's give him more, let's keep his value in terms of now a Zenkai bench and release a new unit for that team, the same color, so that they can, this character can Zenkai bench, Zenkai buff that character. I think that should be the thought process, right? Am I wrong in saying that should be how it works? I know it's a free thing. Zenkais are free. But you can justify it. Oh, it's a free thing, so, you can't really expect them to be the best of the best or being like completely number one on the team. Yes, you can justify it. It doesn't make it right. It doesn't make it right or better. Like, that's just bad for the game. Because I for guarantee can tell you, like, Yamcha's getting a Zenkai, right? What's gonna happen? They're gonna release a new green unit for Dragon Ball Saga, and then he's just gonna hold the bench for that character. So their purpose of Zenkai Yamcha is to Zenkai buff the new character. That's my problem. That they on purpose pick characters to Zenkai so that they can Zenkai buff the new character. They're not going like, okay, let's just Zenkai this character because he's gonna make the game meta better or impact the game. No. Let's Zenkai this character so he can Zenkai buff this new character. That's their thought process, and I think that is just completely wrong. That's one of the reasons why Zenkais have just lost all in hype, meaning anything. They Zenkai'd the green cell. What did he do? He was there to Zenkai buff Green Future to Zenkai buff Vegeta Blue. When we got Zamasu, they wanted to help Vegeta Blue as well. So the Zenkai buffed him, like Zenkai him. You can say maybe, oh, he's supposed to be, the green option on Androids. He's not good there. He's not better than Android 16, mate. He's worse than Android 16, who came out a year ago. Like when Cell Zenkai came out in February, that 16 was a year old. He's still better. So even on Androids, he did nothing. So what was the point? Okay, you can have the thought process of, okay, let's Zenkai this character so he can Zenkai buff the new character. Fine. As long as the Zenkai is good enough to where you're like, okay, do I want to run the new character or do you want to run the Zenkai? Both perform different roles but are equally good. If you can do that, then I don't mind you focusing on trying to make him a bench character. But on purpose, they are not good enough to be, actually used in PvP on a consistent basis at a higher ranks. They're not good enough. And their job is to just Zenkai buff. And that's just not good. There's one example that's in recent time that's not the case, and that's this Cell. Right? LF Cell Zenkai. He Zenkai buffed purple PO. There was no purple PO character released. Yes, Android 17 was released, but it's not like a premium unit. So it was not like guaranteed that this guy's gonna hold the bench instead of 17. And also Androids did not have a purple anyways. So this was like, okay, this makes sense. Although on his release in that meta, Pro didn't do anything, was completely useless. So what's the they did the thing, they made him, the first choice option for Androids, good enough to be first choice option. Like, okay, I take that back. I just said he is not even good enough to be the first choice option. So he released, he's not Zenkai buffing anybody, any of the new characters, and he's not even good enough to be ran in PvP. Hooray. Mission failed fully successfully. Wow. So couldn't even make it. That's a good thing that he wasn't a Zenkai bench option for a character that released in recent times, right? He wasn't that. He was meant to be, okay, this guy is gonna be a first team character. And then he just wasn't good enough for the meta. What was the point? What was the point? Then Red LF Cell came. You can say, okay, maybe then he has use. Didn't really have that much use. With Cell, you would use Gohan and Trunks. Yes, you can run him as well to make it double purple, but you wouldn't want to run double purples, for the most part. So, yeah, I don't know, man. They Zenkai Gogeta Blue. Where is he? An LF Zenkai, you would never use him over Beast Gohan. He was supposed to Zenkai buff Beast Gohan and be a secondary option. And again, I'm saying I understand that that's their thought process. They want characters to be secondary options and Zenkai benches. Doesn't make it right. That's not a good thing. That's what I'm complaining about. That whatever how they design these kits and what their thought processes and what they, think Zenkai's characters should be doing, that is just wrong. Because it doesn't make the game better. It just doesn't make the game better. I already talked about how Zenkai buffs in itself have ruined the game in detail, like during the Legends Fest time. Already talked about that. But this is about Zenkai characters being usable. Okay, Vegeta, everybody was hyping him up. Yo, Vegeta the GOAT, Vegeta the... Nah, bro, it was the other two characters. Vegeta himself is not that good. It was the other two characters that were, carrying the team, not Vegeta. Where is he now? Where is he now? What happened? They released Gohan and Trunks later, right? Gone. Vegeta the end. So basically, his Zenkai was a placeholder for a month or so that they can Zenkai buff Gohan and Trunks. Hooray. You see the problem? This is the problem. They do this. Kid Buu was an exception as well. Kid Buu... Okay, Kid Buu is a perfect example of what Zenkais should be. You know, in this case, both of us win. Kid Buu released, and SV was the blue unit, right? But now you had a choice. Do you want to run SV for his endurance nullification and his, other things? Or do you want to run Kid Buu for his endurance and blast damage and vanish recovery? So you had two different units, same color, but it was not like, oh, SV is just straight up better or Kid Buu is just straight up better. Based on your teams, you would pick one or the other. You know, what you like, and you would use that. This is the perfect example of what Zenkai should be for both of the parties to win. You know, they're not the outright first team option, but they're also not like outright a bench. It's genuinely a debate. Do you want to run the do you want to run the new premium unit, or do you want to run this Zenkai? But then the thing is, he's a LF with a Plaid and everything. If he was just a normal 1% sparking Zenkai, that wouldn't be the case. Perfect example. The two characters that I mentioned that, were okay. I was gonna say the two characters that I mentioned that were, surprisingly good to be like still a bit not supposed to be like just the Zenkai bench were Cell and Kid Buu, who are both LFs. But then I remember Gogeta Blue is also an LF, and he in no case you would use Gogeta Blue over Beast Gohan if you have Beast Gohan. So makes him a secondary option. Kid Buu wasn't a secondary option. Cell wasn't a secondary option. He was the first team character. On androids at the least. Okay, on androids. Because you can say, oh, purple 17, Cell is just better than purple 17. Let's just not do that. Cell is just better. But yeah, that was my whole problem with Zenkais, and it's never gonna change. I said earlier, I'm just getting a Zenkai is gonna hold bench for another character. He's not gonna be good enough. They said, oh, he gets cover null when he quits. Wow, more RNG. So you yourself wouldn't even know when you're gonna get cover null. You're gonna click the card and hopefully pray to God, okay man, please give me cover null on this card. So amazing, more RNG. But yeah, short video. Just wanted to talk about Zenkais in general, how I wish they were actually designed to be used instead of holding the bench or being secondary options. Make them have a choice between the new premium or the Zenkai. Which one you want to choose based on your team or your situation. But yeah, Dragon Ball Legends. If you've watched this far, leave a like and subscribe. I should have just I keep forgetting every time. It's just not in me to ask for like and subscribe. But if you are here, do it, and I'll see you in the next one.